Okay, we're on.
It's kind of weird. I'm seeing it from this view.
It's time to breathe again on the latest BOFA Sports Webcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. As you can see, Patrick and we're together. I'm live. I am down in Patrick's neck of the woods down here in the Destin area of Florida. And here we are, ready to do another webcast episode, starting with college football. Now, look, y'all, we will get to the Georgia-Alabama game here in a little bit. I know. But before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other events that had happened during the week, because it was an interesting week. Of course, it got topped off with the big game in Tuscaloosa, but lots of other things that happened as well. So, Patrick, what stuck out to you?
Minus that bull crap I had to deal with at 6:30 at night after I put my big screen up and everything, got all my flags going, everything looks good, and then Georgia doesn't show up. Yeah, that's the only thing that I saw. Freaking sucked. Now, one of the games that I thought was really good was that Oklahoma-Auburn game. I had that one going on in my garage a little bit, and I'd go out and watch that one, and Auburn was taking care of business, man, and then they weren't. I mean, that's all you were really saying. They just could not finish, and it seems like that is the MO for them.
They have had 17 or 18 turnovers this year. And
counting the 3 that they had last week.
Yes. They were up 20. I remember they were up 21-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And just lost it. Just turnovers. And I think like a pick 6 in there. Yeah. And so, it's ugly in Auburn right now. Yeah. And the thing is, they could at least be 4-1 right now, if not
3-2. 3-2 is about the best they could be. I mean, look, Hugh Freeze is doing a good job down there, and the problem is that, remember a couple years ago when we were talking about Arkansas, and I was like, look, if Arkansas gets out of their own way, they would be good. This is Auburn this year. They can't get out of their own way. It's like who's the quarterback down there?
For Auburn. Well, they started Peyton Thorne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I swear he looks for the other team, and it's like, that's my guy right there. Oh wait, no, that's the other guy. And then this is what he's doing for the rest of the damn game, and I'm like, at least chase him down, maybe. I don't know. Just give it something, you know. I mean, you just threw the ball to him, but they can't even get out of their own way right now. I mean, you know, they got Georgia this coming up week, and I mean, to be honest with you, after that loss that Georgia had, I really don't want to be any team in Georgia's way next week. So, you know, that's one of those teams where it's like, oh, we just got beat. Everything's settled down for us. Whoever's next, we're gonna put a whipping on. That's what I kind of feel.
Yeah, and that is Auburn. Yeah. Maybe 3 or 4 more turnovers coming for them.
I'm hoping like 5 or 6, and 4 of them pick 6s. That's just my hopes, because, you know, after that display this weekend, I don't know if I will be rooting for Georgia if they lose to Auburn. I am going to burn everything.
No more red and black.
No, I'd be red and black all day.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's like, you're not doing that.
I got too much Georgia stuff for me to be jumping off shit. Unfortunately.
What other games caught your eye?
The Arkansas-Texas A&M game. That was a good game. I mean, Arkansas is starting to. I think Arkansas is starting to figure themselves out. I think they're starting to really find out what kind of offense they are going to be. And when they do play, I mean, they were playing in College Station, and everybody knows that's a hard place to win anyway.
No, that game was in AT&T Stadium. You were that?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's in Jerry's World. So either way the case may be, it's a little more of a home game for Texas A&M than it was for Arkansas, but it was a good game. Arkansas showed up. I think they're starting to figure themselves out. I think they're really starting to figure out what kind of offense they can be. But I mean, obviously Texas A&M got them, but Arkansas is going to start looking stronger and stronger every single week. So I really like that game.
Yeah, and it was like most of the games between Arkansas and A&M. It went down to the wire, and A&M was able to pull it out. Give them credit because I didn't think they would. More on that in a minute, but but A&M just found a way. They were able to play some good defense, and after Arkansas got off to a pretty hot start in the first quarter, they shut them down. Yeah. They have 14 points in the first quarter, and then 3 points for the rest of the game to win that game 21-17. What else?
One more, and I'll leave it at that. It was more of a blowout game than it was anything, but I want to mention this team because this is another team that is starting to figure themselves out, and that's that Clemson-Stanford game. Mm-hmm. That was probably the best offensive display I've seen from Clemson in a while. Yes. They were firing on all cylinders on every part of that offense this week. So I thought that was I wanted to mention them because their very first game they had Georgia, and nobody saw Georgia doing to Clemson what they did, and Clemson just could not figure it out. They only scored 3 points that game, mm-hmm. And so now everybody's questioning: did Dabo do the right thing by not going into the transfer portal? Is he the right coach? Did he lose that team? And last weekend said no. I mean, they were playing well, and again, yeah, I get it. It was Stanford, but it doesn't change the fact that you still got to play the game. One and two, they were balling out there, offensively and defensively. So I wanted to mention Clemson. So
I think what we have to remember when it comes to Clemson is, we on this show, we have been pretty harsh on Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, we have.
Wondering if he has lost the team, wondering if it's a stale message now, wondering if it's just time for him to just move on because they're not getting back to that level of those national championships they won in 2016 and in 2018. One thing about Dabo, though, in terms of what he's doing with the roster, he may not be using the transfer portal at all, but
I mean, not existent.
Yeah, but he can still recruit. Yep. So there's still talent that is going to Clemson, and it's hard to see a team in the ACC that could consistently knock them off right now. Now, we know Florida State had the time where they won the conference last year, went undefeated. They're not looking that good right now, but maybe that changes. We'll see when we get these next games. But Clemson is still going to be a force. And you're looking at the ACC, Miami, who, of course, everybody is waiting for Miami to be back. The U is back. Probably should have lost against Virginia Tech.
I say they should have. Yeah, that was a catch. I don't care what anybody said. That was a catch.
Probably should have lost to Virginia Tech. And then Florida State, we know they have gone down. I bring those two up and the rest of the teams in the ACC just to ask, if it's not going to be Clemson consistently, who is it going to be? And from seeing what Clemson has done the last couple of weeks, I don't see any reason to believe that it couldn't be Clemson right back at the top of the ACC, having one of those automatic bids, because the ACC does get one of those automatic bids when it comes to the 12-team playoffs. So I mean, they're still going to be a factor. I know they got whooped by Georgia at first, but they're not going anywhere. They will still be a factor in this ACC race. And again, I don't see any, like, if they were to meet Miami right now, I would pick Clemson. I don't have any reason to believe Miami could beat them. Miami hasn't really shown me anything yet. So,
but especially, I mean, the only thing I see is that the refs helped them out on that last game. That was a catch. It was a catch. So, he caught that ball. I don't care what anybody says. They caught that ball.
I have a couple of other games. Kentucky and Ole Miss. Ole Miss. Now, we have been waiting for Ole Miss. All I keep hearing about Ole Miss is this is the year. This is the year. This is the time for them to finally rise up and do something. I was sitting here with Patrick because I've been here since last week. But I was sitting here with Patrick and we were talking about this game. And I said, Patrick, and he'll confirm it. I said, Patrick.
Yeah, I thought Ole Miss was gonna blow them out.
Yeah, and I said, Patrick, I think Kentucky can give Ole Miss a game. And Patrick said, nah, man, not with that tempo. Now, the Ole Miss runs that offensive game plan. They get to going. I think they're just gonna run Kentucky out. I said, man, Kentucky hung with Georgia on the line of scrimmage. I don't see any reason why they couldn't do it with Ole Miss. And then the game started. Ole Miss got off to their fast start. It was 7-0. And I can't lie, I was sitting there, I was thinking, oh, it could get ugly.
But it
didn't. Kentucky settled in, and they were able to control the line of scrimmage. They had almost 40 minutes time of possession in that game. And Ole Miss never got into a rhythm, or at least not a good rhythm that could be sustained. And then Kentucky hung in. Brock Vandergriff was able to make a big throw down the field to set him up for the big drive or for the winning touchdown. And the defense they hung in. They were able to get pressure. They were hitting Jackson Dart. I mean, they were ripping helmets off of him. I mean, they were beating him up, man. And I mean, I just think it is just this. It's the same thing with Ole Miss. We keep on hearing it is their time, but they didn't even wait until facing Alabama or Georgia when they caught that annual ass whooping. This was by Kentucky.
They got it from Kentucky, and I was sitting there like when I told you, I was like, nah, that up tempo. I don't see Kentucky being able to handle it. Well, they completely stopped it. I mean, the blitzing on second down was just on point, and he didn't do it every time. It was strategically sent at the right time, and every time he sent it, man, it was like delayed blitz by the linebackers, or off the side by the corners, or that free safety blitz that, man, nobody even saw him sneaking up until it was too late. Yes. And then everybody was like, well, how did that linebacker get in? And that was a free safety.
And then,
I mean, and he was there. And I mean, and Dart could not account for everybody, because it was like they showed they were going to send 4. Next thing you know, they sent 7. And nobody knew where it was coming from. And the tempo just got squashed. And when it got squashed, I was like, hey, Charles, you might be right. And I was like, that was about the end of the second quarter. And I was like, if Ole Miss can't stop Kentucky in the first drive of the third quarter,
it could be trouble.
That could be trouble. And what they do, right down the field. And I was like, okay. And I did not see that coming from Kentucky. I kind of felt Kentucky would get blown out because they lost their momentum when they lost to Georgia. And when they lost to Georgia, normally that Kentucky team kind of just tucks tails and run. They didn't this year. So, hey, give a lot of credit to that preparation from Kentucky, because they didn't cut tail and run like they normally do. So I like it. I mean, I like it. I like it when games are a little bit closer. There's only one team I want to see blowouts on, and That's Georgia blowing everybody else out. Other than that, I'd like to see good defensive football.
Sorry, hottie toddies.
I'm not. Y'all should show up.
Yeah, that's true.
I had y'all blowing them out, and y'all didn't show up. I ain't sorry.
One more game before we talk a little bit about Georgia and Bama. But one more game is the OK State Kansas State game, man. Kansas State looked really impressive in that game. Now we know they were coming off of a loss. I mean, BYU, that's another team that's going to be a factor in the Big 12 apparently. Yeah. But BYU blew out Kansas State. They won that game 38-9. So Oklahoma State, of course, was coming off of the loss against Utah, and it was a game where it was going to set a tone. They're coming off of a loss. We want to make sure they get back on track, not just for, of course, this game, but going forward in the Big 12 season. And Kansas State, like what we said, that they don't have 2 games in a row. That's bad most of the time. Yeah. Like Kansas State is going to fix their problems more often than not, and they blew Oklahoma State out. I think they won that game. Yeah, they won that game 42-20. Yeah, and so that looked like they look like a machine. Run, pass, good defense. Mm-hmm. This is the team that is always a threat. Anytime it comes down to winning the Big 12, they're always amongst the favorites, and it just seems like no matter what
What did I just do?
What do you mean? What did you just do? What do you mean? What happened?
How the hell we both in orange?
Oh, I don't know, man. You put on your Bro Epic shirt. I don't know.
I just noticed that.
I just thought I thought that
I'm repping Texas for you. Hell, let's do it. Georgia can't beat Alabama. You got one more chance.
You was already talking about that you would be a Georgia fan anymore, so you might as well.
Yeah, might as well just go.
You know. So
I just noticed that. I've been sitting there like,
it's all good.
How did that happen?
He's 17 minutes in, so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't change it now. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could. That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
So my nipples all over.
So Patrick, look.
Sorry, that just threw me off. I was like,
I thought you noticed, man. Like,
I did not. I was not even paying attention to that.
Well,
anyway,
it's all good. It's cool.
That threw me off.
Because you're like, what did I just do? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, I thought everything is running great. Timer's still running. Was there a malfunction?
Everything's good. I got the memo. I guess I just got the memo. We'll just call it that.
So, Patrick, thoughts on the Georgia-Alabama game? Obviously, it didn't start off well for Georgia. They were down 28-0, and
30-7.
Then there's 30-7 at the half, and then in the second half, Georgia just methodically started to work their way back in, and they took the lead.
Yep.
34-33, and then that 17-year-old
freaking kid.
Yeah, the 17-year-old freshman.
And the woo, and all of this crap that he can do. I was like, where was Georgia at? Where, you know what? This is what gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how the hell did we not recruit him?
And I think he came from Mobile, and Alabama was on it.
Care.
Was on it. Hey,
yeah,
he was going to go play in for Nick Saban, and give Kalen DeBoer credit because from everything I heard, he was ready to come to Bama. Nick Saban retires, and he decommitted. And I guess Kalen DeBoer said, no, we need to get this dude here. Well, so they got him there, and man,
that kid can unbelievable. I knew he was going to be a factor when I watched him in a game earlier this season, and he had like 8 catches for 100 and something yards and 2 touchdowns, right? And
what was the game against South Florida, right?
I think so. And when I looked at the stats, and they're talking about how in this game, this kid did not drop one pass. He had 6 or 7 targets, whatever it was, 8 targets. He had 8 targets, 8 catches for 100-something yards and 2 touchdowns. And I was like, that kid is going to be something special. And man, the way he caught that ball in that sideline throw against Georgia,
the pirouette on the sideline,
and then they put it. I don't know how he got it over there, but he did. And then he tiptoed on that sideline, and then as he tiptoed, he put the brakes on, and then was gone.
Yeah.
I don't know how he goes from 0 to 60 that fast, but man, let me tell you, if that kid is 17 years old, what's his name? Williams?
Ryan Williams.
Ryan Williams. Okay. If that kid is 17 years old and he is this good and he is playing at a D1 level at this good, I can only imagine what this kid is going to look like in 4 years. I can only imagine. And you know, good for him. I wish him all the best, but don't do that crap again.
And it was just, I mean, if you're a Georgia fan, I mean, there's two sides, because obviously you're upset that the loss happened.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end,
Georgia fought back.
Yeah,
they didn't give up.
Yeah, they did not go away, and they took the lead, and it just, that fourth quarter was just haymaker after haymaker that was coming from Georgia. They got the big plays to take that lead, and then they had a chance, almost got down to the end zone. Big interception for Alabama in the end zone. The throw by Carson Beck, you have to give the receiver more of a chance. If you're going to throw a fade route there, which you probably should have went more in the middle. You had timeouts to work with. You could have went in the middle.
And ETN was eating field at that point. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I questioned about that play call. And, you know, everybody's going to hear, everybody hears my opinion on ROC. I'm not even going to say his name because it's not even worth saying his name.
It would be a rant.
It would be a rant. That's the reason why I was saying it. But here's the thing. I said he was going to throw the bubble screen, 12 times? He at least threw it 12 times. And one of them was a pick.
Yeah. Patrick, I gotta say this, man. It's one thing to see you rant about Bobo on the other end of the screen, but man, it's another to see you rant live. Yeah.
Oh man, because you can feel the frustration. You can feel it on this.
Yeah,
you can feel it
I'm right here.
He hits right now. If we had any kind of, man, I said it. I have said it many times, and it all goes back to last year. I blame Lad McConkey for us still having Bobo, because there was a bubble screen pass that Lad ran 78 yards for a 15-yard touchdown. And that saved Bobo's ass when it came to being this year.
He should have been fired.
He should have been fired. After that, I would have fired him. I was like, Lad, just fall. We could pick up the pieces later. Just fall, and we get a new OC. But no, what does Lad do? He scoots it right back around on the other side and scores a touchdown with a big old smile on his face because he knows he ain't gonna be there next year. And I was like, but we're all Georgia fans, and you kept him. It's all your fault. I blame Lad. He's such a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's such a good guy. He was a great wide receiver for Georgia, but it's all your fault. We kept him. All your fault. All your fault, Lad. Blame you. And now you're at the Chargers.
So, big picture. Now, number one, this was an instant classic. The comeback Georgia put on after being down so far. It's going into one of those games that you're going to replay for a little while.
I won't be.
I know you won't, but
It's a same old sad story when Georgia plays Alabama.
Yeah, just can't quite get over the hump.
Kirby is 42-3 since 2019. Guess his 3 losses are. Here's what's sad. You want to know? So here's some stats. Here's some stats for you. 42-3, and his 3 losses are Alabama, Alabama, Alabama. You want to know something else? The 3 losses that we had. Guess who our OC was? Name not to be said. Name not to be said. Name not to be said.
And
Lame.
Big picture.
Big picture. You know what that means? Fired. Kitty Burn.
Georgia still, because especially with it being the 12-team playoff, still in there, so you can make some corrections, close some things up, and there's still Georgia's still going to be a factor in this national championship picture. Bama, I think for everybody who might have thought, and 2 of us are sitting right here, who might have thought there might have been a little bit of a downturn with Nick Saban gone, that does not look like it's happening right anytime soon. I mean, Alabama's still got a lot of talent there. Jalen Milroe looks really legit now because he can actually throw with the running
defense.
Yeah.
And then there's that number 2.
Yep,
who bails him out on it. I mean, I'm going to tell you, man, when I watched that kid, I was like, Milroe is a very class act talent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to take anything away from Milroe. He can play. He's fast. He's the fastest one on the team with a 4.2.
Yeah. As
a quarterback, you know. But here's the thing. Even though he's as good as he is, Williams makes him look even better, dude. That kid is special, man. I mean, and just hearing him, like, even in his interviews, he seems like just a really down-to-earth kid. I hope he stays that way. No matter how much success he has, I hope he stays that way, because I like that kid.
Yeah, he's doing some special things out there, and just to be at 17 years old to be doing that at that level.
Yeah. Just that level. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go back and look at his high school stats, because I swear I think that kid probably caught for 1 million yards and 1 million touchdowns. He got a touchdown per every yard he yes, I absolutely believe that.
So, and before we jump into next week's action, it is time to pull up the handy dandy graphic.
Oh, and this graphic looks so good right now.
So what we have is
look at that overall.
So overall, we're tied at 12-6, but Patrick was able to get a win because of the Arkansas Texas A&M game. He was only down 2. It's not like he's down. So he was 4-2 last week. And so Patrick was down, he was down 2 from the first week we started doing this, but he got a game on me last week. 2 weeks ago, got a game on me last week. We finished 4-2. I was 3-3, and there's your overall records, tied at 12-6. We have not predicted any final scores exactly yet, but that will change.
It's coming this week. I'm hitting one. As soon as I do, I'm going to play the lottery.
So as we move into this week's games, Patrick, what is the first game that you are looking
at? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse and UNLV.
Okay, Syracuse.
This one I think is going to be a really good game. I really do. And this is the reason why. UNLV, this is probably the best I've ever seen them play football in my entire life. And I think this is the best football they've ever played in their entire life. So I really like that. I've been waiting to pick a game with UNLV. I have been waiting for it. But I wanted to make sure that they were going to be legit when I did. But I also wanted to make sure they were going to be in a legit game when I picked it. So I've been waiting for this week, and I was like, man, if Syracuse and UNLV are going to be good throughout the first 4 weeks, I was like, I'm picking that game. I'm picking that game. I made that choice week 1. And I was like, if they are going to be there, I'm picking them. So that being said, I looked at this game and I'm going to go UNLV because I do think they have a better, I think they're not a better team. I think they're better coached. And this team is starting to play as a team. And if you can get offense playing the way they've been playing, defense playing the way they've been playing, and they've been flying around. Like I went back and watched a little bit of just like some highlights of them last week. That defense is flying around, dude. So I'm gonna go UNLV. I'm gonna go UNLV 28-24.
All right. So I have been following UNLV too. I know they had a game against Kansas that I was able to catch, and they were able to pull that one out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you. They have been playing together pretty well. Like they're starting to gel as a team. Syracuse is coming out there to Las Vegas, so it's that West Coast trip. I think UNLV is going to do it too. I mean, Syracuse, to their credit, they've been playing some pretty good ball as well.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be a little bit more. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think Syracuse defense is pretty leaky against that UNLV offense. So I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring. You have 28-24?
28-24.
All right. I'm going, because UNLV's defense isn't quite that great either. So I think they'll give up some points to Syracuse. But I'm going 40-34. Yep. 40-34.
Wow,
UNLV.
you're going high.
I think it's going to be pretty high scoring.
Should I change my score?
If you want to. It's up to you before we move on.
29-25. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going 40-34, man. I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. But UNLV wins.
Nah, I'm good.
28,
I'm good. 28-24. I'm good.
24? All right.
I'm good. I don't think they get the over either.
What's the over?
57.5.
7.5. Oh yeah, dude. They're crushing that.
I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to do it.
Crushing that. I mean, they're going to be in the 70s.
You got them in the 70s.
Yeah.
Nah, I got them in the. I said 28-24. I got them in the 50s, low 50s, but I don't think they go over 57.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess we both have UNLV winning.
But we do have both UNLV.
I got that shootout, man. Let's go over to the SEC, and I'm gonna look at Missouri and Texas A&M. So this game, Missouri is still undefeated. I get they had a bye week last week, right? Missouri have a bye, yeah, all right. And they had the game, pretty close game against Vanderbilt, going into that bye week. But they're still sitting there undefeated. Coming into College Station, where A&M is coming off of a victory over Arkansas, which we had talked about earlier. This is interesting. Missouri's in the top 10. A&M is what? Are they 20, 24, 25?
Oh, fact check that real quick.
But the game is in College Station.
25.
All right. So the game is in College Station. Man, this one's interesting. I'm still kind of on the fence about Missouri because I don't know how good they are. I think they are good. How good, I don't know. I'm not sure if they are amongst the elite in the SEC yet. Going to College Station is going to provide a little bit of a test, depending. I mean, I don't know if A&M is really in the elite of the SEC myself, but
this is a hard one.
It's a tough one to pick. So, I mean,
because you are playing in College Station. What time is that game? Because
that is noon. It is noon Eastern.
Oh, I'll give you my pick right now. I'll give you my pick. If it was at 6:30, it'd be a different pick.
Yeah.
I'd let you know anything. I already tell you who I'm picking. I said, no,
Yeah.
Texas ain't ready to play at noon.
Yeah.
No. They're waking up. They're like, man, I just herded my cattle,
Yeah.
and I'm tired. No.
Yeah. A&M was probably doing the Aggie, the 12th man call that they do late Friday night.
Yeah.
They might not be ready to go.
They may not be ready to go that early. That's an early game. That's early. Most of them are only rolling out of bed at 11:30. So
I think it will be a close game though. But yeah, I mean, I think Missouri will find a way to pull this out as well. But I think it will be pretty lower scoring. I'm gonna go 24-21 Missouri.
Good pick. I got Missouri all for all those reasons. I mean, everybody heard me. 27-24 Missouri.
All right. So, this is A&M. All right. So we both got Missouri winning there. What is your next game there, Patrick?
Pittsburgh and North Carolina.
Okay.
This is interesting to me because North Carolina got off to a bad start, right? And with the way they have been playing, but Pittsburgh looks really good, and I think North Carolina is starting to show. Plus, they're playing at home. I think this is one of those pick'em games. I think North Carolina is going to show up a little more than what they have in the past, especially with this being a conference game. I think they're starting to figure out now that they've moved on from May and him going into the NFL. I think they're starting to figure out their quarterback and how well he can play and, what his limitations are. I still got Pittsburgh winning this game, but I do think it will be close. I think this will be close. I think North Carolina holds them very well in the first half throughout the third quarter, but then I do think that Pittsburgh does do a little bit of pulling away, but I do think it will be close. I'm going to go Pittsburgh 30-24.
I think Pittsburgh's going to win too, simply because I think North Carolina, I'm getting some Texas vibes with Mac Brown being there at UNC, where those last few years was just teetering on the
he about to get fired.
Yeah, just teetering on the brink of just mutiny. It just does not look good in Chapel Hill right now. Now, they did have a good performance last week, even though they did lose to Duke. The week before, they gave up 70 to James Madison. And it was to the point where Mac Brown, I guess, was saying, if y'all think I'm the problem, I'm out of here. I just think it's teetering. I've seen this being a Texas fan. I have seen this dance where things are good with Mac Brown. Of course, we won a national championship when Vince Young was there. That was our last one. And it's in that 20-year mark of just irrelevant now.
In the past 10 years.
So,
what's the rule? 8 years?
Yeah, 15. I think you gave it 15.
Well, we're probably going to change that. We're probably going to change that to 10? 12.
Good 12.
Okay, so new rule. If it ain't in the last 12 years,
it's not relevant.
It ain't relevant.
So, those last few years of Mac Brown's tenure.
We need to change it? We want to keep it?
We can keep it 15. It's all right. Our championship still ain't relevant.
Yeah, but mine are not. Yeah, let's keep it at 15 for a little bit longer. Let's keep it at 15 for a little bit longer. Make sure mine stays relevant for a little longer.
But those last few years of Mac Brown's tenure was ugly. Really, really ugly before a decision was made to finally let him go. I'm getting a lot of vibes like that right now with Mac Brown, and this is his second time with North Carolina. I'm with you. I think Pittsburgh is winning. I just think Pittsburgh is the better team. I think they're just more settled right now than UNC is, and I'm gonna go. What you have, 30-24?
30-24. Pittsburgh.
I think it will be around that same score. I think North Carolina will score some points.
They're really starting to. I mean, I really do feel like they're starting to figure some offensive stuff out. And yeah, they lost their last 2 games, but they won their first 3. So
I got 34-27 is what I'll give for Pitt. So I guess my next game, let's go over here. Let's go SMU and Louisville.
Damn it.
So
now I gotta find another one.
Yeah, dude. Like this game, I think is gonna be fun because I think this is gonna be a shootout, definitely. What's the over under of that game?
Over 59.
Nah, that's low. So
I thought so too. I looked at that. I was like,
so they're playing in Louisville. Louisville's coming off of a loss to Notre Dame. And SMU, I'm not sure if they played last week.
They did. They beat
yeah, they whooped Florida State. That's right.
Florida State.
That's right. Yeah, they sure did. I remember. Yeah, there's a Florida State fan across the street from you, and they're like, "Oh God."
I come over here and watch. They came over and watched the Georgia.
Yeah,
their game was just
disappointing. That's right. Well, look, I think this game could be in the high 30s, low 40s, and I don't think the defenses are really going to show up. But maybe Louisville makes enough plays down the stretch to maybe get an interception or something. I got Louisville 45-42.
You think SMU is going to let that many points?
Yeah, does SMU don't have no defense like that?
They stopped Florida State.
We is out there. We talked about Florida State with those DJ ukulele.
Like I don't even know how to say his name. I wish somebody would.
I think it's ukulele, I believe. I'm pretty decent.
DJ ukulele.
That's that's actually a guitar in Hawaii, a ukulele.
I know that's really
I used to play it when I was little. I used to play it when I was little. When I was stationed, well, I wasn't stationed in Hawaii. My parents were.
So when you were little, it was like a real guitar for you, then?
Oh yeah,
it's like a real guitar.
Yeah. I was all about it. We were playing it, broken notes and everything. Stop.
You went Louisville?
Yes.
We're going to agree on everything, aren't we?
I mean, we still got 2 more games to choose.
Do we really?
Yeah. We didn't make our 6 yet. We got 2 more.
One. Oh, I got 1 more.
Yeah. And
so we got 2 more. Okay. I got you. I was like, how we got 2 more? Okay. Dang. See, this is that one where I really want to go SMU just to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And SMU, their offense is good, but the defense horrendous.
You could have asked me. You really think they're gonna give us that many points? Yes. Yes.
Here, let me check my notes. I want to go SMU because I need to be different. We gotta have somewhere where there's a break. But Louisville has no defense, and I think they have a better defense than SMU does. What'd you say? Louisville
45-42. I think it's an issue.
Damn, you're getting like 80 points.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay, well, Louisville 160 to 150. Let's go ahead and give them 300 points. Well, I am going to go Louisville. I don't think they're going to score. I don't think they're going to score 40s. I mean, I think mid to high 30s. I think is a lot. But I'm gonna go Louisville. I'm gonna go Louisville 38-34. I'll go that. I don't think they're going to score that much because as good as these offenses are, Man, I want to say whoever hits 31st might win.
I mean, again,
I'll go Louisville 38-34. I don't think that they have that high-powered of an offense to score 90 points in a game combined. I mean, that would mean that they would have to throw over. They would have to pass over 1,000 yards combined total. Hell, let's do a passing thing. You think they can get 1,000 yards?
What,
Passing?
a total?
Total?
Maybe total offense.
Yeah, total offense, both teams.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll make it there, though. I think.
I mean, that's dude's like.
I think they can get to 800. I don't think they'll get to 1,000. Combined yardage, I think they'll get to 800.
Hey, we're gonna do a special rally on this one. 781. I think they do 781 total offense. No, we don't have to do that. Louisville, 38-34.
820. What's your next game? What's your last game that you get?
My last one will be Ole Miss versus South Carolina.
All right.
I'm gonna take it into the SEC because I haven't done one yet.
Yes.
Ole Miss losing last week. South Carolina, and you know I like Shane Beamer, man. I like him as a head coach at South Carolina, and they're really starting to play some good football in South Carolina again, and it's good to see that. And I'm glad that Lane Kiffin is the head coach at Ole Miss because that means it's another SEC team that's playing some good offense. Crappy ass defense, but at least they play some offense somewhat until you run into Kentucky. And they're playing in South Carolina.
Yep.
This is a good game because there's been a lot of weaknesses that was exposed to Ole Miss last week with Kentucky. And they showed that if you could get to Dart, you can really mess up his timing. You can really take these wide receivers and these and the running backs off their routes. You can really mess up with Ole Miss, and I don't know if Lane Kiffin can fix it in a week. I mean, like Lane Kiffin is a good coach. I'm not going to take that away from him. He is really good in the offensive mindset. I think he does fix what Ole Miss is having a problem with, especially with that Kentucky team exposing them so badly. You know, I mean, Ole Miss was going into that game with average points was like 37, and they only scored 17.
Yep.
You know, so to hold that high powered of an offense to 17 points through 4 quarters in their own stadium, I think that's a bit much for Lane Kiffin to fix. Like I said, I think he does fix it, and I think he really does get Dart to a point where it's not that big of a deal, but he can't fix it in a week. So I'm going to go South Carolina. I'm going to go South Carolina. I'm going to go South Carolina 34-21.
Oh, you know, so I was going to pick South Carolina too. I am not sold on Ole Miss at all.
Not after last week.
This team, I have been one of those people who have been really critical of Ole Miss because everyone's like, "Oh, Lane Kiffin here, blah blah, here they come," and again, get smashed. And lose to Kentucky last week. I think South Carolina. So I remember when we were talking about South Carolina. This was a couple weeks ago when they were playing LSU. And we were waiting to see if South Carolina could get like that win that says they can turn the corner. Yeah, I think it happens this week. I wasn't ready to say it against LSU last weekend or a couple weeks ago, and they did almost pull it off. I mean, that was a really close game. But I think this is the week. Yeah. I think South Carolina is. I'm not going to say they'll roll. I think it'll be pretty close.
I think they roll.
I think so. You got 34-21.
Yeah. I think they roll.
I'm going 31-27 is what I'll go. I think it will be close. Ole Miss will show up. I think they'll be because they're going to be upset, of course. And I think the offense will have a better performance. I've never been sold on Ole Miss's defense. I just feel like it's like playing against air.
Yeah, but when you look at that South Carolina defense, if you really look at it, they bring a lot that Kentucky brings.
Yeah, and so that's why
that
I like
matchup, man. And like, so I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm like, here's what's crazy about what I saw in South Carolina and what I see in Kentucky is I see the same team. I really do. There's a lot of the things that they do the same. Here's the difference out of South Carolina and Kentucky. South Carolina has a little more depth. So they could change that defense out and still keep putting pressure on the dart, where Kentucky had to come back a little bit and get some rest, and then they attack again. And then they take a little bit of a break and then attack again. South Carolina can do it all game. So I think South Carolina rolls. I think they're, like you said, we talked about it last week. South Carolina's looking for that win where they can turn the corner and they can say, okay, we are a legit team. I'm not going to sit and say that they're back like Steve Spurrier back. I'm not going to say that yet. But Shane Beamer is doing good things in South Carolina, and he is getting that team better and better and better. This is his third year down there, fourth year, something like that.
Yes.
So this is his year to, like you said, turn that corner. This is the game he does it. He does it big, and he does it in South Carolina.
Third year for Shane Beamer.
Third year.
But yeah, I think South Carolina does get this win. I think Ole Miss they'll find a way to get a few more plays on the offensive end to get a better performance, but it won't be enough. Like I said, I think South Carolina will get that signature win before they go to Alabama next week.
That signature loss, because Ryan Williams will single-handedly catch everything around them.
So I guess I got one more game. Let's see. Let's go over here to the schedule. We're still on camera. Okay, that was the week before. Let's see. Let's go to Michigan and Washington. Ooh. So Michigan is coming out to Seattle to play Washington, and Washington is not looking the same as they did last year. But they're always tough to beat out there in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, this is a rematch of last year's national championship game that Michigan won. And they won by running the ball religiously. I see a lot of the same. I think Washington will be pumped up just because they are coming over to Seattle. And this is a actual Big Ten game now. So there's a lot at stake. But yeah, I just think Michigan controls the clock a little bit like they have been doing, and they'll find a way to pull this out. So I got Michigan winning 27-7.
Okay. You got Michigan winning 27-17.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go 27-17.
Yeah.
You got to win by 10?
Yes. Washington's not quite the same.
They're not, man. And I want to go Washington just to be different.
Yes, you do.
I know. I knew that's why you picked that stinking game. So you're like, oh, we gotta do something different. Okay, I got you. Okay. Be honest with you, no, Washington is not the same. Especially with all the people they lost to the draft. Losing their head coach to Alabama. But here's the thing: Michigan's not the same either. They're a little bit they are better when it comes to offense than Washington is, and Washington is in their games they've taken some beatings. They have, and honestly, I don't even think that they're even really like 100% healthy either, are they?
Yeah, they're kind of struggling there.
They are kind of struggling. Yeah. Okay. It looks like we're not going to have a tiebreaker this week, because I don't see Michigan losing to this team.
They're just truer to their identity.
They're truer to their identity. They still do everything. They still play Michigan football, and there's a reason why there's a reason why where they're at is why they're where they're at. They just play good football. They control the clock. That's their big. I think they control the clock more. I can't say anything else about that. I want to go Washington. I'm really trying to find a reason to go Washington just so that we could have that tiebreaker, but I don't think we're going to have one. I'm going to go Michigan, but I'm going to go Michigan. I'm going to go Michigan 27-24.
All right. Pretty close. 27-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go 27-24.
So for this week's games, so we don't have any disagreement, so we'll still be tied unless somebody gets the right score.
I'll get the right score.
Doubt it.
Syracuse. I got 3 games. I know I'm going to get the right score for them, so it ain't matter.
So we both for Syracuse and UNLV. We both have UNLV winning. Missouri, Texas A&M. Both have Missouri. Pittsburgh, UNC. We both got Pitt. SMU and Louisville, we both got Louisville. Mississippi and South Carolina, we both got South Carolina, and we both got Michigan defeating Washington. So we will see where we are. I mean, we're going to be tied. We won't be tied because I'm going to get correct scores. So,
so much crap coming from my left side.
Now you see how I feel.
So much crap coming from your left side too?
I
get it. I see it over there.
Now you see how I feel when I'm on the other end of that screen every week when you go on your rants.
I can always go on one if we miss it. If you're missing it, you want me to go on one?
No. Let's go to the NFL. And so
I can look you up, and ain't no problem.
Let's go to the NFL.
I got plenty to rant.
I know you do. But maybe not as much this week in the NFL because there are some things that happen. And I know there's something, so I know there was something that happened. I don't know how much it lessens the blow from the Georgia loss.
Oh, not enough.
But at least the Falcons beat the hated New Orleans Saints.
Oh, God, that was...
Can we salvage the weekend?
Well, right? That was the salvage of the weekend right there. Because like if Georgia can't beat Alabama, the Falcons beat the Saints. It's almost right in the world. It's almost right in the world, man. And let me tell you, the life of a kicker. I mean, I'm going to tell you, man. Like Atlanta and their kicker coming in clutch for a 60-yard field goal to win the game. Man, I love Koo. I'm gonna get a shirt that says "I love Koo." I'm getting one, and it's already patented.
Yeah,
it's already patented. But man, what a kick from him to, and you know he's been pretty consistent since Atlanta's picked him up. So thank you, Falcons, for salvaging somewhat of a season and getting that win against the Saints and a huge win that we needed, especially in our division. So I'm good with it. Big win. We are now in second place.
And coming up on a game with Tampa Bay on Thursday night too. So
yeah, got a short week.
Yeah. So what else?
How about the Broncos beating the Jets?
And
whatever that was.
Yeah.
Whatever that was over the week.
10-9.
10-9. I mean, like that was almost like that one game that was 12-9 and it was all field goals.
Yeah.
Remember that game?
I think did Bo Nix even throw for 100 yards in that game? I don't know.
I was gonna say he probably did something like what Caleb Williams normally does. To be honest with you, Caleb Williams balled out, I think, this weekend, didn't he?
He had about 160 yards throwing. He didn't
ball out more than I thought he did. I thought he balled out more than that.
That was a DeAndre Swift game.
Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. No dogs. The Commanders whipping the Cardinals, dude.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels is looking pretty good there. And I think it's funny, since you brought up the Commanders, I think it's really funny that you're seeing articles out there that says, should the Bears regret? Should they regret? And now look, you've heard both of us on the show say that Jaden Daniels is the better player between him and Caleb Williams. Just can we let these things develop just a little bit, just a smidge before we want to start writing hot take articles?
No, we're not, because it's Caleb Williams, and no, we're not. No, Chicago, you made a mistake. You should have paid Doug Daniels.
I do agree. I do still. We were saying
It's
that
out.
before the draft.
It's out.
It's
out.
But man,
I don't know what to tell you. They should. I don't care.
I
I don't care. The verdict's out.
Already?
It is out. I told you it was out when they started in September.
Well, look, I mean, because look, I'm not mad at the hot takes in this case, because I'm not. Because this is stuff that we've been saying. Like, so all these articles that are coming out here. No, ew. But then all these, but the articles that are coming now, we just think it's really funny, because this is stuff that we kind of been saying all along.
Yeah.
And now the hottest thing that happens all of a sudden, oh, Jaden Daniels is the truth.
Yep.
Let me change my rookie of the year vote.
He's 4-0 and he beat Joe Burrow.
So, the Minnesota Vikings, they're still undefeated and playing pretty good. And so it's them and the Chiefs. I think they're the only undefeated teams left in the.
Seattle got their butt whipped.
Yeah, Detroit put it on Monday night. I mean, Minnesota's playing good ball, good complimentary ball, getting turnovers on defense. Sam Darnold looks like a legit quarterback. Amazing what happens when you get a coach. Give credit to Kevin O'Connell for having that team just ready to play and just playing to their strengths. And then let's see. Yeah, we pointed out Detroit. Baltimore blowing out Buffalo. That was another undefeated team that was going in there. Not anymore. But yep. And the Steelers got a loss to the Colts to knock them out of the ranks of the unbeaten as well. So, yep, 2 more left, like you said, with the Chiefs and the Vikings. And speaking of all that, Patrick, what are you looking forward to next week? Well, of course, the Bucks and Falcons on Thursday.
Bucks and Falcons, because we're about to be tied for first. One. Can the Vikings stay undefeated? And they're going against the Jets. So, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. But, hey, you got to play the game. So,
and that game's in London.
Yep.
So they're going now. It's the start of the Europe games that are going to be happening. The series of Europe games. I think one will be in Germany in November. After they have another one, or maybe 2, but they'll have definitely another one somewhere in England. But yeah, I mean, that could be an interesting defensive type of game. Yeah, you got I think the Steelers are going to blast the Cowboys, but that's your Sunday night game. And you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna look at the Browns and the Commanders too, just to see how the Commanders continue to keep this momentum. Right now, they are sitting first in the NFC East, and I don't know anybody who had that going into the season. We both said the Commanders could be interesting, but we both picked the Eagles. Yeah. But we both picked the Eagles to win the division. The Eagles, they don't look good either. So we'll see if this gets corrected. Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
So we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, this is the start of the bye weeks as well. I think the Lions have a bye this week, and I forget who else has a bye, but this is the start of teams getting their bye weeks. So the schedule won't be as full as it has been in the first 4 weeks, but still some good games to go around.
Bills and Texans. How do the Bills bounce back off of that?
Yeah, that'd be a good
CJ
one.
Stroud. That's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one more I wanted to to give a notable mention to is the Saints and Chiefs. The Saints going to bounce back from their loss, and if a team can beat the Chiefs, I do feel the Saints can. So.
Yeah, Monday night is that game.
Prime time, and I don't know if sometimes Derek Carr shows out on prime time. So it's Patrick Mahomes. So that I really do think that's going to be a good game.
Well, all right. Well, before we head on out, what's coming up for Pro Epic?
Crap, at this point, I don't know. We had so much crap scheduled, and every bit of it fell through. So I will tell you, we do have some one-on-ones coming up. So we do have a double elimination tournament for bucket golf, and we are going to get this football episode in. I swear we will. But we ran into some childrens didn't want to show up because they had to go to their dad's house. But I guess it's all right.
So
but we will get it in. We will. At this point, I don't know when yet.
and I'm not going to be a part of it.
And he's not going to be a part of it, so we're going to have to make a different show now.
It's okay.
Lame.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that from the Pro Epic product, and for Breath of Fresh Air or BOFA Sports. Look out for a couple of shorties, one coming from Patrick and one coming from me later this week. Yes, we are aware there are other sports going on, and one of those sports is, of course, the MLB. They are in their playoffs. The wild card series are taking place right now. They will conclude Thursday, and Saturday will be the beginning of the divisional series or the division series. So look for shorties from Patrick and me Friday, and we will give those picks all the way up to who we think will win the World Series. So be on the lookout for those later on this week. And also other shorties that are coming up, and we are on the podcast. Just in case you didn't catch the reminders from the last couple of weeks, yes, we are on the podcast. So wherever you listen to your podcast at, we're there. Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, wherever, we're there. So if you don't catch the webcast version, catch us over there on the podcast. So with that will conclude this edition of the BOFA Sports Webcast. That is what we are breathing on for tonight. Y'all make sure y'all visit the BOFA Sports YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the BOFA Sports Facebook page. Patrick, man, it's good to be live with you, man.
I know, right? It's a different tone. It's a different tone.
Absolutely, definitely a different energy. You can, like I say, you can just feel it from those rants.
You can feel it bubbling.
Yeah. But man, it's so awesome to be down here visiting you and being able to do this show live with you, man. So
yeah,
it's lots of fun.
Tons of fun.
So with that, I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did doing this show. And y'all take it easy, enjoy the games, and we will talk to y'all later on in the week with those baseball scores and predictions. Y'all take care.